video. Let me figure out how to share my screen because apparently this is the first time I'm using this platform.
No worries, Ria. Yeah, I believe.
And
Yeah, we
yeah,
can.
okay, so now I can see that you can see it.
Yes.
Great. You know what? Last time I did a presentation where I did live demos, it was so bad, like live demos didn't work for me. So for the sake of this talk, I decided to do just couple of live demos just to make sure that like practice makes you perfect. So maybe a few more live demos will help make my live demos don't go too bad.
Def-
So with that, let's talk about Chrome DevTools. And before that, I would like to just introduce myself. Hello, everyone. I'm an engineering manager at Quizlet. I just got promoted. Barely in the process of promotion, maybe I would say that. I'm also a GDG North America Pacific region mentor. So I'm a mentor for the California GDGs and Seattle GDGs and Portland GDGs. I'm also a Google Developer Group San Francisco and Cloud San Francisco organizer. I'm also a Women Tech Makers ambassador. I've been with these programs since 2014. So it's been like, I feel like I'm the oldest at this point. Like, I have grown with GDG programs and with Women Tech Makers program. I'm also an accessibility advocate. So you'll hear me rant so much about accessibility in my day-to-day life. Like if ever I find I work at quizzes, if ever I find something which is not accessible, I would be the first one to like, hey, we need to fix this and here's how to fix it and let's fix it. I push for accessibility at Quizlet and we improved a lot in the last 2 3 years, and I'm hoping that not just at Quizlet but everywhere else I want to make sure that it is things are accessible for everyone. Which brings me to, you know what, do you know that Chrome DevTools also has a lot of accessibility things which you can use?
I did.
Let's actually talk about that. So what exactly is Chrome DevTools? Does anyone have like a short summary? And I want to like make this session very interactive. And I'm so sorry, like my slide reads date, like I forgot to update date. So before you start nitpicking, I acknowledge that my slides are not that like fancy looking. So I want everyone to use chat box in just like one word or two word, like or a sentence or whatever you prefer. What according to you is Chrome DevTools? What does it mean to you? I'm gonna give like 1 minute to everyone, and hopefully that is enough.
I think so. That's fair.
Yay, let's get it rolling. So, what is Chrome Data? Like, how do you use in your day-to-day life? What are some of the features that you love? It's okay if you don't know anything about Chrome Data, you can just say so as well. Yes, so Richard is saying, okay, I'm using like multiple screens, so I'm sorry, it's going to be a little bit weird for me. Um, Great. So let's start reading the chat as well. Richard is saying it provides CSS overview. Nishit is saying make site accessible. Richard also says love the dark theme. Yes, I recently learned about that and it's amazing. Leo says inspect images. Yes, there's a lot more you can do with images and CSS. Lighthouse tool, Vikram is saying that yes, I'm gonna talk a whole lot more about Lighthouse today because I find that feature to be so much more useful to me, especially like in my everyday job as I'm like adding new features and adding new things. Great. So Chrome DevTools, like you read about like a lot of different things like CSS, images, Lighthouse tools, dark theme. Chrome DevTools is basically it's a set of web developer tools which are directly built into the Google Chrome browser. It can help you with making your site accessible, making it more performant, making it easy to debug, making it easy to see what's happening in production, how much time it's taking for your website to load, how much time it's taking for a network call to happen. It provides not just like it's a vast set of tools which can provide you with so much more information. Ooh, so the first tool that I really want to cover is the Lighthouse, which Vikram just pointed out. Lighthouse is basically an automated tool which can help you improve the quality of web applications. It provides several things. It has audits for performance, which can help you identify how you can what's going on with your website, how the performance is like, what you can do to improve them. It also provides things on accessibility. So when you run the Lighthouse tool for accessibility, you will see that it actually shows you how much your website is accessible, what are the things that needs to be improved, along with why it is bad. It also provides best practices. For example, if your site is missing some sort of security things, it's not secure, if a connection is not secure, if there are like any unwanted calls, best practices will help you guide through that. It also helps with SEO. Everyone really wants their business to be first. Everyone wants, like, whenever anyone searches about my work, I want everyone to see literally that thing first. So Chrome developers can also help you figure out what is going on with your SEO of your website, where it is lacking, what you can do more. And there is so much more. There are three different ways to use Lighthouse. One is via DevTools, which I'm going to cover today. There is also a command line library which you can use, and then there is also a Chrome extension. So, depending on how you want to use it, which is easier for you, you can just use that. Best practice is to use incognito to run the Lighthouse, and there is a reason for that. Because when you are running it on your browser, you might already have some stored data, you might already have some Chrome extensions. So all these like Chrome extensions and stored data could actually slow down your website, which is why when you are running a Lighthouse audit, it's always better to use everything like plain and clean slate, so you know, like, whenever any user is going to your website for the first time, how will it work for them. What happens in Lighthouse, this is kind of the UI of Lighthouse, where you see there are different kinds of modes. There's like navigation mode, there's time span, there's snapshot. You can even select if you want to run the Lighthouse thing for mobile versus desktop. For example, if your work, if your website or app is primarily for mobile, that is like mweb, you can just use the device mode and change it to mobile to figure out how will it actually work on mobile. There are many companies who really focus on making sure that website and like the normal desktop view as well as the mobile view stays good. They both are fine. So you can like run using both. There are different categories on a Lighthouse report, and you can select which one you most care about, or if it's all, then sure, why not. There is also a plugin for publishers ad which you can select from here. So, and more than that, like, you can even generate Lighthouse report by and throttle your website using that. Let's say your website is used by all across the world and you want to see like how it would work with low for users who have like low bandwidth or who have like low internet connection basically. So you can actually use this Lighthouse performance to get a report of how it would work in those scenarios. Okay, so for Lighthouse, I want to do a quick demo of how you would generate it. I'm not going to do an incognito for this purpose. I'm sorry about that. Especially because I think um, the way I'm sharing my screen will not allow me to do that right now. So let me even, yeah, I definitely cannot try that. So, so the way you actually even see Chrome DevTools is by right clicking on your page and going to inspect. There are command line shortcuts which I'm very unfamiliar with, and I'll be honest with you, I cannot remember any command line shortcuts. Like, even for like copy and paste, it took me years to remember, like, oh, Control C is copy. And then when I used Mac, it's like Command C is copy. And then I was like, oh, it's so hard to remember shortcuts. So moving on, there is this like option called Lighthouse here. Let me actually zoom in my screen. If at any point, I want to be very open, like if at any point you feel like something is not really visible on my screen and like words are very small, please let me know. So uh, I will zoom in whenever needed.
Thanks for that.
Perfect. So there is an option called Lighthouse here, and this is how it looks. I always prefer clear storage because I have used my website so many times and I want to make sure that whenever I'm running this, like the previous stored data is not affecting it. Especially if my website is available offline, I want to make sure that any of the offline data does not affect the Lighthouse report. There's also, you can change here throttling between simulated and DevTools. Oh, sorry, my Slack is still open. Okay, and so this is where I want to try. So I want to try the same navigation default. I want to try the desktop, how my website does on desktop, and I want to test actually all the performance, accessibility, best practice, SEO, and progressive. So after that, I'm going to click on Analyze Page Load, which will take a couple of seconds to actually do the Lighthouse uh, audit, maybe a minute to do the Lighthouse audit. It's generally fast, but sometimes it does take a couple of minutes. Great, 85 on performance. I know it's so bad. Um, so what it says is like the first thing that it shows basically is that I scored 85 on performance, which is okay. Like not, I can do better than that. 97 on accessibility, 100 on best practices, SEO is 100, and PWA. It also gives me a warning that, hey, you know what? You didn't run this on incognito mode. And there's also IndexedDB, which I'm using on my website, which could affect the performance thing. So generally, this is why I was saying, like, just like whenever you're running Lighthouse, of course, run it on incognito instead of the general Chrome browser. Moving on, like if I go to click on performance tab, it actually shows me very valuable information. And what that is that it shows my score, it shows I'm like okay-ish range, and then it also shows these like user timing metrics of like what's my first contentful pane, how much time it took for my website to load to become interactive, what's the speed index, what's total blocking time. And sometimes if you don't really know like what all these metrics means, you can just click on expand view, which will provide you with information of what all this what's meant by LCP. So LCP is basically, it marks the time which the largest text or image is painted. Great, I did bad on that. So it actually also shows like original trace and tree map, which I'm not going to get into detail, but it also showed me opportunities of how I can improve. So it's not just saying that how bad or how good I'm doing, but Lighthouse is also telling me where I can improve, what I can do to improve the performance of this one. So, for example, of course, I didn't properly size my image. What happened here is that one of my image, it also shows which image actually and where. So it also shows you the class name and how you can refer that and what's the file name.
Awesome.
So yeah. So it shows that like my image is very large than it should be. And I can actually work on reducing the size of that image, which is really helpful. Otherwise, I will be like, oh, it's an 85 on performance. I don't know how or what I need to do to actually improve that. Similarly, it shows diagnostics. So in diagnostics, it says, sorry, it shows diagnostic of what else it found. So for example, it says that um, this was the largest contentful paint element because it took the longest time. It also says like I had main thread task because I'm using a lot of like extensions in this website, which is why it's like a little bit my audit was not so good. It also says past audits. So it's like, hey, I did 32 things right. So that's something. I'm not so bad at this. And these audits, it will also tell you like how you are doing that or what that audit actually means to give you an insight so that when you're working on your next website or your next project, you know how or what are the other things that you can actually take care of. Similarly, moving on for like, let's talk about accessibility. Great. It shows contrast. It shows all the things that are needed for accessibility. The only thing that I have found where Lighthouse doesn't really help is the keyboard navigation because that is very manual. So it will actually like still tell you like if your buttons are missing an accessibility text, if your links are not correct, if your color contrast is not right. For most of the things, it will actually point it out if there is a problem. So in this case, for me, it did point out that my background does not have a sufficient contrast ratio, and it also shows me like where and why. So when I'm fixing it, I can actually just use this class one or just find this in my code wherever I have job seeker written and just fix it rather than spending hours trying to figure out how I can improve my accessibility.
Oh, that's
Similarly, it also says additional items that you can manually check, because there are certain things which Lighthouse will not be able to check it for you, which is like basically the keyboard thing mainly. So it will guide you of like how to test them and like why to test them. Moving on, it will also show you the past audits and things which were not applicable because my website didn't have those things. Then there is this best practices which shows you that, yeah, like I have sees my content security policy is effective against any kind of attacks, or it there were like there were JavaScript libraries detected, and then there were like couple of audits which were passed, like I am using HTTPS, it's not an insecure connection to my website. So all these things definitely gets flagged under security. Then there is SEO. SEO also gives you like manual items to check, but it also provides all the past audits and things which were not applicable. And same with PWA. I do have, my website is PWA supported, so there are like web workers and things available, which is why it provided me a whole lot of information about do I have something valid, do I have something working, versus what are the things that I could manually check. And then it gives me this. One thing that I have found useful is like like whenever I would run, I would just like print a summary or something, and then I would just use that to refer it all the time. And then once I'm making done all the changes, I just go back and like try to compare how it was before versus what it is now. And printing summary also helps. Like if you are working with more people, you can just share this with them, and then be like, hey, these are the things that I found. Maybe we can fix them. Yay! Okay. Cool. So much for Lighthouse demo, right?
I know.
Should we talk about recorder? It's not about video recording, or it's not even about the recording that Leo is doing. It is the recorder, which is a tool which allows you to record and replay the user journeys and get performance insights. So I don't know how, if you have heard about this, but like if I'm going, like generally, like if a user is going to a website and if it is taking so long to load, they'll just like immediately jump to the next one. If it's taking like more than 3 seconds or more than 2 seconds, I would be like, no, I don't want to do business with them. I would rather just like find something which works super quickly. It's not 1990s. So this recorder can actually help you, like getting like, let's say you pick out a user flow, and then you can actually like record the user flow and then go to the performance to figure out how or what is the performance. You can also export and import a flow. So, for example, when you want to share this with your product managers or someone else, you can just like export the flow and then send it to them. So, this is the UI of a recorder. It basically just provides you ways to start new recording. You can also save those recordings. It's not just like one recording, you can have multiple recordings at the same time. I'm gonna go do a little bit more. I'm gonna spend a little bit more time on the demos rather than on the talks, because I find that like if you're seeing something in real time, that is actually way much more helpful to identify and like learn and remember things. So I went to my Chrome DevTools again. I'm on my recorder tab. I'm sorry for this fake name which I did while I was testing and trying out things. So I'm gonna actually like just start a new recording. I'll put a recording name of like, let's say demo. I can also have a selector attribute. For example, if there is something, if I'm using selector attributes in my code, I can use that. In my case, I really haven't used any. So I'm going to start new recording. And what I'm going to do is like right now recording started. So now I'm going to like go through my website, click on certain links, and then end the recording just for trial. So, okay, let's start with the first link. Great, I clicked. I'm gonna scroll up and down. I'm also doing a little bit of key up to go up to the website. Then I'm clicking back on like view all the articles, and let's actually end it here. Okay, so I did some key ups and key downs, which are also logged here. So it's not just like clicking, but it's also like if you are doing anything with your keys, it also gets logged here. So if I want to replay, it will actually replay on the website of what all I did. Oh, it was too fast. I'm gonna try to replay again. So here's what I can see. It's like it tried loading and then it went back. I know the load was not super good. This is the flow. Here there are many things you can do. For example, if you say think like there's too much key up or like definitely different things, but you can actually just remove some steps if you don't want them, or you can actually like go to a certain one. And for example, here I clicked on click main selector one area all articles. I can actually like change this selector to something else, and then it will actually like run via that. Great. So this is a recorder, and you can actually use this recording to learn more about performance. And before I go to performance, I want to highlight this thing. Right now, I'm running this in normal, but I can also run this like, for example, very slow. So that will give me an example of like how this website would work if someone is having a low internet connection. How would this work? Like very slowly, things will load. Very slowly, they will be able to like move on to the next screen, so you can actually like replay this flow and see how it will go there. Which brings me to performance insights. So performance insights is basically a tool that provides you web vitals and user timing metrics and a whole lot more. It's super critical to make sure that the performance of your website is really good. Like it immediately loads. There is like immediately something to see whenever a user goes to your website. There's immediately some action to take, or user can actually like go through your website without any issues. So, which is why there's this tool called Performance Insights. There are two ways to go, like, there are multiple ways to actually go to the Performance Insights. You can actually just like start by like restarting the page, which is like if you click on this way, like measure page load. I don't know if you can see it. But if you click on this like measure page load, what it will do is like it will restart your page. I mean, not restart, but like refresh your page, and then you will be able to see performance metrics for those. However, if you actually want to do the performance metrics for this entire flow, you can also do that by just clicking on Performance Insights panel. What it will do is run it will run on the flow, and then here on this performance, it will take me to Performance Insights tab, where it will show what all happened. Now I know this screen like technically sometimes can be a really overwhelming, but there are multiple ways to actually see this screen. I'm going to keep my zoom at this level, but there is this another zoom functionality here at the very bottom right on the screen, which actually zooms in or and zooms out of to make the charts a little bit bigger. So this is like more of a zoomed out version, which says like what are happening at certain steps of your website and in your run. um there is this timing which actually does this thing like of whenever I was running, like for however long I did that recording, this is the timing which I can adjust, and I'm going to do a little bit here. So let's talk about the insights, which is really critical to know. So for example, if you're making your website faster, you don't really want too many long running tasks, because that would slow down your website. So on the right side in insights, you'll actually be able to see these kind of long tasks and click on them. That will show you what's wrong with your website and where something is wrong. So, for example, I clicked on one of them and it showed me that my function call in third party script is very expensive. So, that gives me an idea that I really need to look at my third party scripts. If they are really slowing my website down, then maybe I can load them async, or maybe I can find an other alternative which is not, which does not make my site go so slow. And it was the browser polyfill.js. It also gives me information like, okay, what and where, which specific extension is that. So details here will give you details about every single thing that you want to look at, and then insights will actually show this. Insights will also show this web vitals, which is DOM content loaded, first contentful pane, large contentful pane, and all these things. So, for example, I'm gonna like do this a little bit. Yeah, so since I was like loading my website, it was also measuring like how long it's taking for my website to load, when is it loading. Sometimes you can just like these things that you see here, like they are all very much clickable. So if you want to see like how long certain thing took, you can just like click on that and you can find the detail of that here. So for example, if I'm clicking on this function thing, which was a JS related function because it matches the color of that, it shows me that that function call itself took 19.97 milliseconds. Not just that, there's a whole lot more things here which can help you, like in the very bottom. There's service worker. Because I have a service worker, it also has information about that. There's, it also shows you like GPU, memory, thread, IO, and like a whole lot of things which sometimes in case you want to use to make sure your website is loading fast, it will help you. Another thing, of course, you can use throttling. If you have never done that, I would highly recommend testing your website with every speed that's possible, especially on Chrome DevTools, and you can even customize that. So you can even say like, oh, I want to try this on slow 3G. I want to see how like things work. And then I want to do CPU throttling as well. I'm not going to try that on mine, but if you want to do CPU throttling as well and try to see like how it would work if your CPU is working 4x slower or 6x slower, you can change that here. Disable cache, of course. Please disable cache every time you're trying to like run these things. And then you should be able to like rerun your performance insights using that. I don't know if there are any questions or should I go on to the next one? Also, Leo, how much time is
I
remaining?
don't think we have any questions just yet.
Okay. Sorry. Wow. I accidentally clicked also. Cool. So these are the three main things that I wanted to highlight, but then there are so many other things available in Chrome DevTools that it's just like unlimited kind of feeling that I get. So one of that is elements. And again, I'm gonna go with demo more than like explaining you what's in the screenshot because this is plainly just a screenshot. So if I'm going to my elements tab, I can actually like use this thing to highlight the specific thing that I want to see. On the left side of the screen, it shows you the JS DOM tree and like how each element is structured. So you can see like, okay, this is a part like, oh wow, where's my cursor? Okay, it's on other screen. Sorry. Okay, I'm here. Yeah, so as you can see, like I can see like how each how each DOM element is structured. I can also change this is an accessibility icon. So if I change this, it will show me what are the accessibility links and how like my website would be interpreted if someone was using assistive technology on mine. So for example, it would say that link conference IWT 2021 focusable is true. So it would actually go and focus on that. So this is another option which you can use to actually see how much and your site is accessible and how it would work for assistive technology. On the right side is my most favorite thing. I don't like CSS or like don't like playing with CSS. I cannot understand if something needs margin versus grid and like flexbox and like all these like crazy things that exist in CSS. I'm sorry if someone is like super pro into CSS. I just like can't understand that. So whenever I'm like playing with CSS, like instead of like changing in the code, I can immediately just change things here and see like what's going on and like how it would look rather than actually changing in code, waiting for it to compile and then actually see it. Computer gives me, okay, what's like all the final properties that are getting applied to this one. There are two other things that I want to highlight. One is properties. So oftentimes, especially like if you're working in React or something else, or like even if it's just like any other language, each dom can have like each dom element has so many properties. And if you're really like if you really want to know like what are the all the properties that are available for this element, you can actually just go to these properties tab here and figure out what is there. So for example, if I want to see like doc.inner.html, that would actually give me this value. So instead of like typing every single thing and like doing console logging of like all those properties which are available, you can just use this properties tab to figure it out. Then there is accessibility, which also shows like, for example, if I am on this, let me be on a better one. Let me be on heading. Okay. So let's say I'm on this H2 element. Accessibility will actually show me like what are all the computed properties. So for example, if someone is specifically going to this heading, what what will it be interpreted as? So you can either use this one, and you can even use this one. I'm sorry, I don't have any audio attributes in my file in my website, but if you have any ARIA attributes which are really useful for assistive technology, it will actually show up here. There's one important thing that I do want to highlight. I don't see any like, oh, I see the color. Okay. So if you click on this like color icon here to see the color that is getting applied, you can actually just change things here. It unfortunately, like mine doesn't have any contrast information available, but majority of the time, like max time, you will have some sort of contrast information available, which will provide you if something is accessible or not, if something has like better contrasting ratio or not. So these are just couple of things in the elements tab. The other thing that I want to highlight is the console. There are so many different ways to log an error. Even for me, like when I was reading about this, it's like, oh, I'm learning something new. I never knew I could format a console error. Like, seriously? I didn't know like I could even print an entire table in console error.
That's new to me too.
Right? The max time that I do is like throw an error, or it's an uncaught something error, or I'm just like console logging, or just like or maybe just info or warn. But that's it. Like I didn't know you could actually like format it into a table, or actually just 3D print like not the blue and red color, but maybe for me as a girl I would prefer golden colors everywhere. So just some colors you can format. Not just that, do you know something like you can just do this like new date, like run these like JavaScript functions and then just hit enter, and it would actually give you certain values. So you can call certain JavaScript functions, you can call so many things here, and use the console as much as possible. Gets me focused wrapper, I don't want to see that. Yeah, so there are like many different ways in which you can use console. So for example, if you are coding in JavaScript or React or Angular or something, you can set a debugger in your code, and when it when your website, like when you're running it on browser and that debugger gets hit, you can actually type, like you can actually use the variable about that, or like if there are any other variables which you just call, you can actually do live variable thing there. I'm unable to like set up any debugger sessions right now, but for example, let's say you stopped a debugging on a variable called um god, it's so hard to think of variable. Okay, let's say recorder. You have a variable named recorder, and then you were like, you were not sure what is getting logged, so you would set up a debugger point there, and then you can just like type your debugger, and then it will actually show you like what those live values are for JavaScript debugging specifically. And then there's also like in the sources tab also has this thing. So for example, especially like when you're setting up debugging points, you can actually do that. I don't have good files open here, but most of the time you can actually just set up debugging points here, and then you can watch what are all the breakpoints. You can use this like right tab to like move next to the breakpoint, or move ahead of the breakpoint, or get out of it, or stop all the debugging sessions. So sources tab is another really good feature which can help you, especially when you're debugging your code. The other thing is mobile views. So I learned it very late, honestly, when I was like just trying to play with things. I didn't know that there is this like icon here which shows like this like mobile and tablet thing. Like I don't know if it's like super visible, but it's like the very next to the inspect one. I was so lame maybe that I didn't realize that it is so useful to me. So I wanted to know like how would my website look on different like mobile screens, and I can just like change things here. I can make it responsive for a website, like to see like how my website is doing for like different kind of screens. I can do that, or I can actually just check for any. mobile specific mobile specific screen sizes that I want to see, like, okay, this is how it would look for an on an iPad mini or things like that. I don't know if you know this, like it was just like I was like, oh wow, like I don't have to actually have those screen sizes or like have those mobiles to actually test my website. Um, the other thing that I really love is finding the unused CSS in JavaScript. Half of the time, like when I'm just testing something, I would have hundreds of variables and I would like sometimes maybe forget to clean them up because my lint and things are not super good. And also, like even if you're working in a really big company, sometimes you might not know um sometimes you might not know like what are all the unused variables and things. So when I'm going to my Chrome DevTools, I'm trying to find out where is that tab here. Oh, uh okay, Command Shift P. What am I looking for? Unused. Oh, CSS maybe. Okay, I'm actually trying the different. Oh, it's not open file. Wait, I need to look at my own notes. Command Shift P. Wait, what was I doing wrong? Okay, now it's right. So I'm trying to look for no. See, this is why I told you like live demos are just so hard.
They're the best.
Okay, I cannot find it right now. Um, but yeah, there is. Wait, I'm trying to see show console drawer. Okay, there it is. So there's this coverage thing here. What happens is like it's actually in the console drawer actually. So make sure there are two different things. One is the panel which is above that, and then there is this like console drawer which is here. On console drawer, there are like so many different options which you can select from here. For example, if you want to see coverage or if you want to go to console, or if you want to do anything with animations or changes, you can actually see it here. For my coverage, I can change certain things, and what I can do is like I can just reload this page to start seeing how many unused lines I have in my code. And it could also be like some Chrome extensions and things, but let's say um, going to the actual website, I can see here. Let me actually zoom in, like of all the things that I use and all the things that are unused. So, for example, my Chrome browser detected that there are these lines which I unnecessarily have in my code which are no longer used. So I can just go and remove them. There are so many CSS properties which I have which are no longer used. So I can remove them. The thing is, like, if you have a lot of unused variables and unused things in your code, it will just make your website more heavy and like difficult to load. Like it will take more time to load because there are more resources which are loading. So it's always useful to actually clean up all the unused code which you have. And there are many ways to do it. Chrome DevTools also gives another way to do it. Then there is CSS Overview, which I recently explored that. Um, Going into Command Shift P, there is CSS Overview panel, which actually shows I can capture my overview, and what it will do is it will show me all the CSS potential improvements that I could make, or if there are like anything unused variables that I have, or if there's anything else that I can improve. So I ran that, and it actually showed me that I have 148 CSS elements. I'm not using any external style sheets. I have three inline style sheets, which I need to change now. But it also like grouped things. So, for example, it showed me that I have five contrast issues. This is again helpful for accessibility purpose that I don't have good contrast between my text. So other than that, it gives like all the font information that I have, what's the font size that I'm using, like just to be consistent. For example, I don't want my website to have all different kinds of sizes of fonts, like 16 pixels, 12 pixels, 13 pixels, 14 pixels. Rather, at certain point you would like to see consistency, and you wouldn't see like all the different buttons having different sizes. So you can even see like click on these occurrences and it will show you like where all that is used. It will show you exactly those places, and you can click on that element and then it will show you in the website where it is, which is not visible because my screen size is so big. uh Cool. Not just these, like there are so many other things which are available, which you can easily explore using Command Shift P. There are only like so many things which you can see here directly. But I would highly encourage you to actually just use like Command Shift P. I don't know what's in like what's for non-Mac thing, but Command Shift P will open up this run command thing where you can actually see and search so many other things that Google Chrome DevTools actually provide. So show changes, show developer resources to help you and guide you on how to build your website in a good way. Um, if you want to change to some other language, you can do that. There's just literally so many options. I was just going through that some other day, and I was like, wow, this is a lot. Um, yeah. So this is all that I had. I hope this was useful. I'm open to any questions.
Well,
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
was
Command.
great, Rhea. That was amazing. I think there's a lot of stuff that I was not aware. Firstly, I think the best feature that that just let me know was the recorder. Okay. And secondly, and I think this is going to be very helpful for everybody, is the Command Shift P. I didn't even know there was a search feature within the console. So that is fantastic. Um, but yeah, does anybody else have any questions? We can go ahead and fill them right now. Okay, feel free to put them in the chat.
Yeah, and I didn't go through the network tab, just to be clear. I use that as well a whole lot of time, especially while debugging like what those APIs are returning me. Most of the time, I find that it's just not working for me. Like the data that I'm supposed to get, I'm not getting that way before. So network tab is actually super super incredibly helpful to me, especially when I'm debugging things and I can see like what were the results that were returned, what was the query that was made, what was the URL, what were the other cookies or like headers that were passed. So if you are especially like into APIs and debugging things, highly recommend using the network tab and rely on that.
That is great, amazing. What percentage would you say that you use this ad work, ad Quizlet?
I think we use it a whole lot. Every day I think we use it. I don't like even for me, like especially when I'm coding, I don't remember any day when I didn't open that to see what's going on in my code because it's just it's I kind of find that it's the easiest way for me to debug my code.
Got it. I'm more of a backend developer, so I don't touch the UI that much. Okay. However, I think I might find some uses for this.
Yes, this is very helpful. Even as a backend person, sometimes what I have tried, I don't know like if it's like really useful or not, but I would just like if I can hit the URL via the browser, I would just do it and I would actually like see the time it's taking for things to return to me
Uh-huh.
between making that call versus getting that data back. So I use that sometimes to see like how my query is doing, like how the overall flow is doing and not just like not just the query specifically
Mm,
because at the end like you're going to plug your backend into the front end so your front end would need to know like how much is the latency there and then what other latency is added by just the front end code.
got it. Okay. One of the things that I use at work, but it's probably not the the actual default set on the DevTools is the GraphQL Explorer. Okay, to see the components and sort of like the return hooks and all that. And it's pretty great. I really
Yeah.
like it. Well, Ria, thank you very much for giving this talk. We highly appreciate it. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and move on to closing sessions. Okay, and if you don't mind, Ria, I'll go ahead and take over.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. But guys, I want to share a couple of slides. We do happen to have a raffle, so get excited. Woo! Yes, and let me share my screen. Hopefully, everybody's able to see it. Awesome. One thing that I'd like to inform you guys is that we are trying to reinvigorate all these chapters. We understand that the pandemic took a lot from us by taking away the in-person events, and we're going to try to get those rolling. But in the meanwhile, we'll try to garnish as much feedback from everyone as possible. Okay, so how do you stay connected with us? One of these would be for you guys to join our Slack channel. Okay, here's where you will hear about new events. Okay, here's where we will be trying to develop a community with everyone in there. Okay, if you happen to have questions in regards to this, and we will actually be relaying the actual video in the Slack channel, as well as provide what the upcoming talks would be. So if you happen to have your phone, feel free to take a snap of this QR code, or you can type this directly. Okay, and I'm hoping, oops, nope. Okay, let me actually get that. Okay, for this, I am trying now desperately to go back into my Bitly QR codes and see if I can just get this and put it in the chat. See, I got it. I also fumble with stuff, so it's not only Riya. There we go. And here's the Bitly if you guys don't happen to have it. So now what do we look forward to? What's next and what's upcoming? GGG Houston, GGG Cloud Silicon Valley, GGG Cloud Fremont, and GGG Fremont are trying to partner up and leverage each other. Okay, we have a new community sponsor, okay, for us that are starting out. Okay, and this would be Meta School. We happen to have a new speaker series that will start on September 6th. Okay, and this will be focused on blockchain and how to start your Web3 journey. So it's going to be super, super exciting. We're going to have the founder of Meta School. Her name is Fatima. She's amazing. She'll be tuning in from Singapore just to give this talk. So once again, feel free to snap this QR code, and I'll go ahead and drop the link as well. The Bitly is not working. Oh, Jesus Christ. No worries. I'll make sure to put it in the are you, Rita, are you saying the Bitly for the Slack or the Bitly for the web speaker series? But let me try to, for Slack. All right, okay, so that is tremendously wrong. Okay, let's make sure that we get that fixed in a second. But Rita, hang on tight. Okay, I'll make sure to put that in the chat. However, one thing that we would love to hear from you guys is feedback. Please provide us your feedback. Let us know if you like this. Provide us any other ideas of things that you'd like to see here. It would really, really, really mean lots to us. And one other thing, for the upcoming raffle, we would probably need things like your name and your Twitter handle. So have those handy and make sure that you provide us with your feedback. And let me get you guys that URL as well for that feedback form. And yep, here we go. And I'll pop it in also in the chat. Great. So feel free to fill that out at your leisure. And now the exciting stuff comes, right? We have a raffle going on. Okay. The QR code for the feedback form is still on the right-hand side, and we're going to raffle 3 things. I believe that we're raffling some pixel buds. Yay! Okay, I have to make a confession, guys. I tuned in to a different speaking session at another tech talk for GGG San Jose, and I got myself a pair as well. These are not it, so just FYI. But yes, okay, they are great. I've been using it for working out, but anyhow. So yeah, let's go ahead and get going with that, right? Okay, for that, we're going to be using the Wheel of Names. And the way that we're going to do that is please fill out the feedback form and tweet at us using GGG Fremont. Okay, let us know what you thought. A quick tweet. This helps us evangelize tech in our community. And also, this is how we're going to get your name and spin the Wheel of Names and make sure that you guys get something. So I'm going to go ahead and jump directly into the Wheel of Names, if I may. And once again, just tweet it at GDG Fremont. And I'll put it over here. And I'll let a couple of minutes pass by just to ensure that we have people tweeting, okay, and letting us know what they thought. So no worries. Once again, we're looking for tweets, okay, of your feedback, your honest response directly from Twitter and that feedback form. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes, no worries. But once again, I want to thank Riya for showing up. I want to thank all of the other GDG chapters also for showing up, making an appearance. Okay, and those of you that started making comebacks, okay, from the previous talks, thank you very much. It is highly appreciated, and we like seeing people that return. It lets us know that what we do means something to you and to your community. Okay, FYI, if you'd like to participate in these talks and these events, once again, you do have the QR code for the Slack channel, which reminds me, okay, I should look for that while everybody else is filling out that feedback form, right? Okay, give me just a sec on that. Our active Slack channel is for GDG Houston, and hopefully we can also reinvigorate and cross post from there. Okay, so this is where we're doing some of the main communication and where we have some of our community partners as well. I'll go ahead and pull once more for the wheel of names. And hopefully we have other entries here. All right. Okay. So we do happen to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Do we still need a minute or more? Are people still taking a bit of time? Feel free to chime in on the chat if you're having some difficulties either tweeting or anything like that. All right. We'll do it one last time just to make sure that we get everybody. Oh, you can't tweet. Is there a way that I can import? So go ahead and put Richard Roberts. If you're having some difficulty tweeting, please let me know. I'll add you personally. Okay. Sadwick, I see @7wick. Is that you, Sadwick? Ah, there it is. Okay. I'll do it one last time. I want everybody to participate. Cool. And once again, if you can't tweet, let me know. And I just erased you, Richard. I am so sorry. Richard. Perfect. Oh, how to tweet? Fish, the best thing that you do is, oh, I see you. It's if you happen to have the Twitter application, that's where you go. You simply, if you happen to have an account, you will say @GDG Fremont. And once again, I'll type it over here, @GDG Fremont. Let us know what you think. However, I'll still add you to the list. Fish. Great. Hello, Vickers. We're in the middle of the raffle. Have you been able to tweet at us? All right. I feel like we have everybody. For one last time, and I apologize. Perfect. There we go. And then I added everybody else. Great. Did we do any doubles? No, right? Cool. Okay. I think we're there. So I'm gonna go ahead and spin the wheel, guys. Keep your fingers crossed and your toes crossed. Okay, and best of luck. At Tech Cheryl. Cheryl, is that you, Cheryl? Oh, snap-a-doo! Woohoo! Okay, I got something from your chapter. You get something from mine. It is only fair. All right, and you get yourself. And I believe that these are Nest hubs. Okay, so you get our first next hub, and then we have another next hub. Okay, good luck to everyone. Hey, is this Rita? Rita, did we get you? Sweet, Rita. Be sure to fill out that feedback form so I can get your email address. Okay. All right. Yeah, Rita. I'm gonna go ahead and remove you. And now for the grand prize, we have some pixel buds. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this. And let's spin. This is exciting, guys. Sadwick, is that right? Sadwick, you there? All right, my man, please be sure to fill out that feedback form. Okay, and I'll go ahead and go back to the slide with it if you guys didn't happen to have it. And just let us know what you thought. Okay, we would love to continue doing this, okay, continue giving away things for you guys, and continue building our community. I'll leave you guys with one last thing. And that's a video, okay? Other than that, guys, you guys have yourself a great evening, and thanks for joining in.